Hey guys, mtgnoob here, and I am bringing you a deck pick with the mono green Fight Club block deck. This deck got pretty popular and a little bit of buzz around the Pro Tour, which was a few months ago. It was a deck that I wanted to play because, like Finlay, I like to fight. That's a wrestling reference if you didn't get that. Alright, so let's talk about the mana base. There is 24 of these forests. I like to use these Zendikar forests because I feel they're very nice with their full art. Okay, let's talk about your one drops. You have a bunch of creatures here. You have Young Wolf and you have the Uvenwald Tracker, both at 4 ofs. Then we'll talk about our 2-drop creatures. You have 4 Strangleroot Geist, 2 Nightshade Peddler, and 4 Mayor of Avabrook. Then your 3-drop creatures, you have 4 Predator Ooze and 4 Wolfear Avenger. Then at your 5-drop, you have 2 Wolfear Silverheart. Now let me go a little bit more in depth in the creatures after I go over the spells and planeswalkers in the deck. Okay, at the 1-drop, you have 4 Prey Upon, which basically is why the deck is named Fight Club, because the creatures you have want to pick fights with the creatures they have. Then you have 1 main board increasing savagery to kind of make your guys bigger and badder, and they just kind of punch their way through with damage. And then you have 3 Garruk Relentless, who, in case you don't know, his 0 ability on his day side basically is a fight ability. Okay, so let's talk about your creatures. First, you have some creatures that come back when they die. So Young Wolf can, block and come back as a 2/2. It could fight and come back as a 2/2. It could do a lot of things. Same thing with your Strangleroot Geist. It is 2/1. It could fight and come back as a 3/2. Still has haste. Very nice. Very sexy. Then you have some creatures that do things like regenerate. So they fight, they regenerate. It's very hard. And then you have some creatures that are just indestructible. So they fight, and if they kill things, they get bigger, and they just keep being all oozy and oozing everywhere. And then you have some creatures that just spit out dudes. Like Mayor, he buffs your human creatures. So he'll buff the tracker. But he's really good with Garruk because he pumps your wolf creatures and your werewolf creatures as well. So he does that, but when he's on his night side, Halpak Alpha, he spits out creatures just like Garruk would if you don't need Garruk to fight, obviously. He also makes wolf creatures. So that's pretty much the deck. This guy obviously makes your guys bigger, and this guy gives your creatures death touch, which is very relevant for fighting because you can pair him with like a young wolf and then fight something that's much, much bigger and kick it in the face because of the death touch. All right, let's talk about the sideboard a little bit. You have 2 Ranger's Guiles. I've never really played this deck. However, I feel that I've got an okay grasp of it. These guys come in against the heavy removal kind of things. I would assume they're mostly to protect your tracker and maybe your Predator Ooze from like a Tragic Slip, things like that. Naturalize is for the artifacts that are going to bug you, such as maybe the Grafdigger's Cage with your undying creatures, or kind of pretty much, I would say, the Hexproof Witchbane Orb, because, you can't really target things as well if you want to. You can't target them ever with anything. Not that I think that's really relevant in this deck. So the Naturalize also, I would say, outside of artifacts, is really good against things like Curse of Death's Hold, and annoying little enchantments like Spectral Flight and things of that nature. Okay, then you have Crushing Vines, which is also good, but mainly just to destroy flying creatures like Restoration Angel, Angel of Glory's Rise, things of that nature. It also hits artifacts, so it's very versatile. Then you have 3 Villagers of Estwald, which are good because they basically block for days and just kick some butt. They flip. and they become 4/6s, and that's very aggressive, especially against control decks because it puts them on a fast clock, and they really can't deal with that. Increasing savagery, I believe, is just against other creature decks to just kind of make your guys bigger. And finally, Bramble Crush as a 4 of just takes care of any problematic lands, artifacts, enchantments, but most likely planeswalkers if you're really worried about a planeswalker deck. So this is the Fight Club deck, and let's get fighting.